Yo, what up? It's Read Your Mind from UrbanRcLA. I'm down here in the garage in Santa Monica, so if it's a little bit noisy, you'll know why. A lot of you know I've been working on this killer body from AWD for a while, and I think I come up with a livery that I really like. You know what I mean. I also got a surprise to show you under the skirt, and that's just right after this. So real quick, there's a place out of Malaysia, I believe, or maybe Philippines or something like that. They're called Top Secret Hobbies. And you've probably seen their bodies that they make for drifters on eBay and other places. They're just like super awesome looking, right? They look so dope. And they're set up with the diorama inside the garage and all that stuff looks ill. Well, they sell this special thing at the bottom here I want to show you. It's their, sort of their faux chassis, which I think is really cool. It's basically just a piece of like, maybe that's wood, I don't even know, some sort of plastic. Then it's got some adjustable hinges here and some adjustable screws here to adjust width and positioning of the wheels. And then it's got these posts to hold the body on. These posts don't work. By the way, I had to put some Velcro on there so that the body can sit on there. It doesn't sit on there real tight. This is just for display. But for those of you that are working on bodies and planning chassis, it's really nice to have this around so that when you have it on your shelf or you have it in your garage, it actually looks like a vehicle rather than just looking like a body sitting there on the shelf. Now I wanted to show you that because I ordered that. It took probably about 45 days to get to me. And it's a little bit too expensive. It's about, I think with tax, it was about 40 bucks or something like that. So they come down in price a little bit. Go ahead and get yourself a couple of those just to store those extra bodies before you're gonna go out and bash them. Now, for AWD's always been really nice to me. They hooked me up with this D4 all-wheel drive kit. Well, it's all-wheel drive if you turn it that way, and it's rear-wheel drive if you turn it that way. It's kind of a secret. If you buy the cheaper version, the R-wheel drive, the rear-wheel drive, just go ahead, get the package in, flip it over, and then it'll magically change into the all-wheel drive edition. Of course, that's not true, but if you believe that, I've got a bridge to sell you. But the Sakura D4 I've been waiting for a long time. I'm gonna break that open here in a second, but the first build I did was on the D3. Really happy with the way this turned out. I've got the Firebrand RC wheels on it, which are all aluminum. I've got working, what are those, windshield wipers, which actually are kind of a pain in the butt. And then I basically did a similar type of livery because I'm working on building like a little team of RCs. Because if I'm gonna go do some drifting, I wanna represent for UrbanRcLA, you know what I'm saying? So that's a great little vehicle. They made some improvements to it. I won't go over all the improvements for the D4. If you want to check out more about the real improvements of the D4, you can check out AWD's YouTube channel, or you can check out a recent video that Hemistorm did on his YouTube channel. So Hemistorm RC, check that out. You'll get a good sense of what the differences are between the chassis. But I really like that D3. The turning angle's not quite as where I want it, but for learning to drift, it's a great little machine. And I'm gonna really look forward to going out with both of these and one of my buddies when I'm finished with the D4. So I'm gonna crack open the kit, and then we're gonna get started with the build. Okay, let's bust this bad boy open. Now, obviously, the instructions are the most important part of any RC build. This one, I can tell it's the D4 all-wheel drive because the instructions on the inside say all-wheel drive. So that's how I know I've got the all-wheel drive edition. The outside box doesn't really tell you anything from that. So I know I got this edition. Now, the instructions are quite clear. They're very well drawn. And I know this kit comes with a lot of the upgrades that are necessary to really make this kit shine. Now for the motor, before I dive into the kit, for the motor I've decided to use a Castle Creations 4-pole 4600 kilovolt. So I also have a 5700, but I'm not sure which one will work better. Maybe if you leave it in the comments below, what do you think will work better? The Castle Creations 5700 or the 4600? What's the difference and why? I'd really appreciate it. But for now, I'm gonna go with the 4600. Of course, I have the Castle Creations Sidewinder 3, which is, I really just love this ESC. It's absolutely awesome. And then since I used in my XV01, I used the AVC Technology $100 receiver. Let me just tell you, AVC Technology doesn't work like you think it should, and it's not good for all applications. So be careful when you invest that money. Make sure you really need it and understand it. So I'm going with the SR201. This is a very inexpensive Spectrum receiver. I think you can find them on eBay for like 20 to 25 bucks if you're lucky. So I'm gonna use that. So let's get into what's in the box. Now in the box comes with all the pieces that you need for the kit. We've got lots of bags. It looks like they've got some aluminum pieces in there as well for the kit, which is great. And that color's not too bad, the pink. Look, you get the full upgraded shocks as well, so you get the aluminum shocks rather than the friction shocks. Then it's got some really awesome looking rims. Way better than the original D3. The D3 had those like neon yellow rims that I ended up painting black. Then it's got, you can see as well in bag 2, it's got some more aluminum pieces. That's really great. Normally before I do a build, I buy all the upgrades first, but with this one, since I did so many upgrades on the D3, I didn't want to do too many upgrades because I wanted to start it with its stock and then see how it performs from there. So this looks like some body pieces. I've also got some more pieces here. Everything is in this really great high quality plastic. There's the belt drive and some more aluminum pieces. And then here's the chassis. Now obviously a lot of people are opting for the carbon fiber upgrades. Now when it comes to drifting, carbon fiber upgrades to me is more of a cosmetic thing. I mean, it may make it a little bit lighter and easier to handle, but I'm not a super pro at drifting, so I'm not gonna need those upgrades unless for some reason I feel like I need to have them because when I'm at the track, everyone laughs at me for having stock. We'll see. Got the chassis in there, got some more suspension parts, and then of course it's sticker set, right? Which you have to cut them yourself. So that's all the pieces that come with the D4. Of course, there's a lot of upgrades that you can get, and a lot of those upgrades you can get in kit form at asiatees.com or atees.com. Go ahead and check them out. Chris and Jason, all the boys down there, are gonna get you your parts and get them out to you really fast. So if you need parts at a really reasonable price with not high shipping that gets to you fast, go to asiatees.com. So I'm gonna start cracking this open and get to building it, so I'll check back in with you in a few minutes. All right, page 1, done. There's the arms. Very simple to follow. These were actually really easy to put together. I'm gonna move them over here so I don't lose any pieces. On to the next page. There we go. Done with page number 2. On to page number 3. Hey, quick note, here's something unique to me. Anytime I do any other Tamiya kit, when I get through the pages and the bags that they recommend, there's all kinds of extra screws. Well, they put the exact right amount of screws for the exact right page. We're gonna see if that continues. Well, here we go, on with page number 3. Wow, this build is going along fast. I'm already done with number 5. That housing looks pretty sick. So let's move on to page 6. All right, so there we go. I finished page 5 and 6, and I just finished 7. On the scale of 1 to 10 on difficulty for putting together these differentials, I give that like a 2. In fact, there's even a little pin way down deep in the bottom of this to hold in the drivetrain here. And it actually has a big enough hole to be able to squeeze in there and get it to go in there. So that was not even difficult at all. All right, so it looks like I finished page 8 and 9. Now it's starting to come together. A couple things I noticed that I really like. Number 1, it seems to be a really easy access point for the motor. You don't have to build the motor into the chassis, making it easy to swap out the motors if you want to change one out. I think that's a really cool feature. Everything, including the belt pulley system, went together so super easy, and it's really easy to access the belt just by pulling off this piece right here. So far I'm pretty stoked about the quality of it. I'm curious to see how they tighten up the belt here. So I'm gonna get on to the next page, which is page number 10. All right, making progress. Just finished up with page 10 and 11. These are designed really well. I gotta say, I'm guessing they're just gonna plop right onto there. That's just great. It makes it really easy access for everything, so you don't have to take the whole front part off just to get at the gear, for example. So kudos to the design team for how they put this together thus far. I did notice though, in the rear pulley system, in the instructions, it does not show, in this what is it, page 8? It does not show putting the actual sides on the pulley gears. There's these little sides that clip on there, so I had to take this off. But luckily, the design is so well, I just pulled this off, slipped that off, put them on, put it back together, and I'm all done. So no big whoop, but if you find that your D4 is running bad, check page 8. It's missing these instructions to put these little shims on there. So look out for that. Anyways, done with 10 and 11, moving on. Sweet! Just finished 12 and 13. Now the rear end is coming together a little better. The center brace is in place. The pulley system on the front, center brace is there. Of course, I'm losing pins left and right. You know what, I'll just leave those till the end. So far the build is really simple though. I'd give it probably on a scale of 1 to 10 in hardness, maybe a 2. It's really fun to put together. Next page. All right, looks like we're making progress. Got the front end in there. Yep, the steering was really easy to just slide in, making it really easy to replace if I want to upgrade. I really like the design. Everything's really easy to get at. The adjustments, it even comes with this little wrench right here to do the front suspension adjustments. I think that's really cool. But we're done with page 14 to 15, so time to move on to 16. All right, let's do this. What I do like as an upgrade to the D4 that wasn't on the D3, the D4 has this really neat battery tray that's adjustable. You can mount it any way you want, depending on the size of your battery. And then it's got this little kind of swivel action going on, so you can just slide that bad boy right in there and lock it up with a pin that goes right in there. I think that's absolutely a huge upgrade, and I really like it. So what's left for me to do on this? Well, what's left, I mean, it doesn't look like there's a lot done here, but what's really actually left is I just have to build the shocks, and then I have to put the tires on, and the body posts, and then mount up the body. All right, you can see it's starting to really come together now. I've got the body posts on there, little foam bumper. One of the things I really like about the Sakura is it always has like a really nice rear bumper that it's really easy to mount some exhausts on. I really like that. The new battery tray is super dope. I think the rims are awesome. Now I've got some upgrades I'm gonna do to this. Not too much upgrades, like I said, mostly it's bone stock, but I got some magnetic body mounts. I've also got some exhaust. I may even have that exhaust kit that I didn't use before that actually blows smoke that I might try to install. I might get a sensor for it, I'm not sure. I gotta figure out where the servo is gonna go so that I can put the rest in, but we're gonna come back to this build in a second and see where we're at. Okay, so I'm back, and you can see while I was away, I went ahead and I put on these invisible body mounts. They're made out of aluminum, black aluminum. I really like the way that looks. See, it fits nice and good up here with the Velcro. On the back, the kit actually isn't wide enough for the bulkheads of the D4, but it's tight enough to where it'll hold the body on. And I think ultimately it looks pretty cool with the body on. So that way I don't have any posts sticking out, so it can maintain that realistic effect that I'm going for. Now, I picked up from Dollar Hobbies these Traxxas 255 servos. They're only about 20 bucks. I've never needed an upgraded servo for anything other than 5th scale, so, and I'm not too worried about speed, because when you're drifting, you're going in one direction and you're only making minor adjustments, and then you flip back to the other side. So I think this will be fine. So really the next steps for me is just mounting in the servo and then deciding where I'm going to put the ESC. I decided to go with a 19-tooth pinion gear, just because that's what I'm familiar with. If anybody thinks I should put something different, like a 20 or an 18, let me know in the comments below, because I really don't notice the difference too much, so maybe you can help me figure out what that actually is. But I'm going to get to installing this stuff, and I'll be right back at you. Alright, you can see I got the servo in there. It's got this nice little pink anodized bling. Looks pretty good. I'm definitely going to have to adjust the rate here when I get to setting it up with the transmitter to make sure I get the steering angles right, because there's not a whole lot of throw that needs to happen to get it to turn. Okay, so I'm just going to finish up by putting in the ESC, get the pinion gear on there, using the SR201, so back to work. Alright, so there you have it. Use a little pink ties to match the pink anodized aluminum. Mounted the Castle Creations ESC and the SR201 Spectrum receiver. Just kind of kept all the wires out of the way. When I went and calibrated the receiver, all you do is you put in that little plastic piece, turn on this, switch it to bind, boom, you're done. Now what I did notice though is in the turning radius, when I'm driving, maybe you can see this, this wheel right here would wobble quite a bit when it was at full right. So what I did is I dialed back the right travel to 80% and left the left at 100%. Still got a little bit of rattle there. And I used the 19-tooth pinion gear, and that seems to be running pretty smooth. So let's put the body on, see how that looks. I think that turned out pretty nice. Okay, well there you have it. That was my build series for the Sakura D4. Obviously I'm going to probably do a lot more upgrades to it. I got to add lights. Might even put a smoking exhaust in it and a Sensa motor. So I got a little bit left to do, but overall I'd have to say the Sakura D4 kit is a lot easier to assemble than the D3, and it also appears, at least right now, that it's going to perform a lot better. Now, if you're considering getting into drifting, don't waste your time with anything else. Get the D4, heck, get the all-wheel drive and the two-wheel drive. And if you don't have the funds to do it, stay tuned because Radio Control Network is going to be doing a giveaway. So if you don't already have one, make sure you're a partner of the Radio Control Network and you might just win one. As always, give it a thumbs up. If you like the video, leave the comments below if you think I totally foobarred anything. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do. Thanks for watching. This is Read Your Mind, and I'm out.